The Mariners continue to roll. That's 5 straight wins. They're just a game back of the Astros for first in the West. They're closing in on the Yankees and Red Sox for the wild card. ESPN analytics give the Mariners an 85% chance to make the postseason. So as baseball season winds down, football season just getting rolling. I've got bold predictions from the Bussin' Boys. Here we go. I'm going to get a prediction from Will. I'm going to get a take from Taylor. Give me one, Will. Give me a bold prediction for week 2.
A bold prediction coming straight out of Compton Greeny. My first one, I'm going to go with Jets upset the Bills.
That is one of the more disgusting things you'll hear on this beautiful Thursday morning. Josh Allen, what he was able to do against the Ravens' only issue last week was that they scored too fast and allowed Josh Allen to come back. Josh Allen is the reason. I went against Bills Mafia last week. They put me on an absolute billboard because of that. I'll never make the same mistake again. Love Justin Fields, generational talent. However, I'm out on that comment.
Are you buying, Will, you're buying into what we saw from Justin Fields week 1?
I'm buying into it. In my opinion, the Ravens offense was too explosive for the Ravens. I think the Jets have an opportunity. If you watch them offensively, you put together 10 to 13 play drives. You keep Josh Allen on the sideline. Buffalo's defense did not play well. I could see this being a sneaky kryptonite for Josh Allen.
Sneaky kryptonite. If the Ravens aren't the number one best put together team in all of AFC, that's Dan Orlovsky's words. Totally different look. The Bills are going to be way better.
All right, take a picture of me standing on a sign that says Jets upset Bills. Next one, give me another bold prediction. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf revenge game. I got A-Rod going for over 300 yards and hoping, I'm hearing a lot of whispers that Seattle's talking a lot of noise about Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's going to be happy that he beat everybody associated with the Seahawks.
I think that is absolutely correct. Aaron Rodgers is essentially turning back the time clock. He is our new Tom Brady in the sense he's going to go up there, he's going to dice him out the same way he did against whoever they played last week.
The Jets.
The Jets, thank you, who we were just talking about. I think DK Metcalf has a big game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is a big reason for that.
So I had a lot of people up here this week telling me, no, Rodgers, it was the Jets' defense was too aggressive. Rodgers didn't look as good as the numbers would suggest. Did you see that?
I hope people keep saying that because Aaron Rodgers listens and he keeps building his boulder on his shoulder. That's why he's going to throw for over 300.
Okay, so that's 2 predictions. I want you to save the best for last. Give me the biggest and boldest prediction of them all.
The best prediction I have on the weekend, Greeny, is that the Chiefs are going to start off 0-2 for the first time since 2014.
Anyone who watches Bussin' with the Boys does not take this as a hot take. Will Compton has been preying on the Kansas City Chiefs' downfall since they went to the 50-yard line like they talked about when he was with the Raiders. It is very difficult for me to see Travis Kelce, who just got engaged to the biggest superstar in the world, they've had the lights forever, them falling to 0-2 for the first time since 2014.
Super Bowl rematch, though, against an Eagles team that just pushed them around in the Super Bowl. They don't do that. They don't do that again?
42 drop-back passes, no blitzes, and they still sacked Patrick Mahomes 6 times. That is ridiculous. However, Andy Reid loves cheeseburgers and winnings, and I guarantee he's already had a cheeseburger this morning.
So Will Compton is suggesting that the Chiefs are in trouble. You know who else thinks that? 4-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. He had a fascinating Chiefs comparison when he was talking about this upcoming game on the show with Kay Adams. Listen.
Remember Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas? And Buster Douglas finally beat the crap out of Mike Tyson and made Mike Tyson not invincible anymore. Well, this is kind of the same situation. The Philadelphia Eagles punched him in the face. The Chiefs didn't know how to react to that because no one else was doing that. Well, going into this year now, the Los Angeles Chargers punched them in the face. The Chiefs were like, whoa, they're coming at us. How do we react? Well, they didn't know how to react because no one was doing that before. So the Philadelphia Eagles opened that floodgate of, hey, if you punch these guys in the face, you take it to them, you come out swinging, they're going to fold, and they're not going to be the team that you've been seeing all last year.
Now look, I mean, if anyone is giving you a perspective you need to listen to on something like this, it's Gronk. He's been a part of historically great teams. He was a historically... Why are you giving me that look on your face?
It's factually inaccurate. The team's been to 7 straight AFC championship games and, 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls on the backs of, a wildly physical defense. Not on the backs of, in part. So, to sit there and say if you punch them in the mouth, they don't know how to react, there's empirical data that says that's not true.
Yeah, I agree. The Chiefs are really good. We've been to this place every single season. It's almost like on the calendar. The Super Bowl is the same weekend every weekend. This same conversation is also here because the receivers aren't very good. They're hurt. They got offensive line issues every season.
They have other issues than
they always have the same issues, and they always end up in the same place.
Okay, so let me change the wording because I don't think Gronk is saying. Far be it for me to try and put myself in Gronk's head. But what I'm trying to
Smart of you.
I don't think Gronk.
It's a blender in there.
I don't think Gronk is saying that they're soft or that they fold. I think the Gronk is saying that maybe the air of invincibility is gone from them, and the way that happened once with Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. I would use the analogy of Rocky IV when, remember that moment where Drago, he bleeds.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
He bleeds. Like Rocky is finally, he's getting killed, and then finally he punches him. Oh my God, he's bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen the Chiefs bleed, and maybe does that open up the floodgates?
We've seen him bleed before. I think a couple years ago we saw him limp into the playoffs and still go and win the Super Bowl. This is a team that still has Patrick Mahomes, that still has Creed Humphrey, who still has Trey Smith, who still has the first pick in their draft as an offensive left tackle. Simmons,
Josh
thank you so
Simmons.
much. Yeah, they're missing weapons through suspension and injury, but they still have Andy Reid, who has to get very creative in his playbook if he's going to beat these Eagles.
They lost one game in the opener.
Right.
They may not be as invincible as they once were. They are still, undisputably, one of the best teams in football, with one of the greatest players who has ever played, with a hugely popular tight end. I'm not underestimating this team. And every time people have underestimated the Chiefs, they've almost been wrong.
They've chiefed.
They played terrible in week 1.
They did.
We were talking about what the ceiling looks like for this Chiefs team because we know what Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the squad can do. But they looked really bad. And on top of that, you're looking at the Ravens and the Bills and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. These teams are getting better and they're gaining more confidence. So if there's going to be a year, this is the best opportunity. But
Dan, show me the tape. What is the actual problem?
I'm not telling you I'm concerned. What I'm telling you is if it doesn't get better, the Super Bowl is a 0% chance.
Oh.
The offense has to find ways to be more explosive. This is a 2-year thing right now. And so if you're in November and December and you're not in the mix, I'll point to this as the reason why. We're in shotgun again. They're in shotgun too much for me, okay? Trips up top. Here's a little flash fake. There's no impact to the defense here. There's no pull up vertically from the defense. And now we have 3 receivers running down the field. They're 25 yards downfield, and they're all next to each other. No one's open for the quarterback. They're trying to find ways to be explosive. Patrick's got to run around and be a superhero, which he was on Friday night, but far too often. I also think, Hawk, there's still a disconnect downfield when Patrick throws the ball with what the receiver does and what's he expecting. Little crossing route. Kelsey's getting beat up. This is Thornton at the bottom of the screen. Patrick's going to launch the ball. Now, the receiver bends towards the post, and Patrick looks that he's expecting him to stay outside. See it from this angle. This ball is going to land at the top of the numbers. If the receiver stays at the top of the numbers, we got a chance for a touchdown. But that young receiver who maybe doesn't have the same rapport with Patrick bends it in, and instead of keeping it vertical, and it's incompletion. Listen, if they don't find ways to be more consistently explosive in this era, you cannot get back to the Super Bowl.
Well, isn't that interesting you put it that way? Because I just happen to know of an explosive wide receiver who does have a rapport with Patrick Mahomes and may not be real happy in the situation he's in right now. Tyreek Hill back to Kansas City. Schefter, talk to me.
They're talking about me.
Yeah, you can go back, no problem. Yeah.
Are you available?
He was starting to get juiced up a little bit.
ready.
So, yeah.
I need you here.
Okay. Yeah,
Tyreek Hill, maybe not so much. What do you think?
There's been a lot of Tyreek Hill chatter and a lot of Tyreek Hill speculation, and I know it will keep going on and on. But the fact of the matter, let's not let facts interfere with a good story. The facts are the Dolphins haven't gotten any calls about Tyreek Hill. Zero. The facts are that the Dolphins are not looking to deal Tyreek Hill. Now, look, we're not idiots. We understand the Dolphins lost last week in an embarrassing fashion. They think they're going to turn it around. But if they don't, obviously, there may be calls for Tyreek Hill as the trade deadline approaches in late October, early November. But as of today, zero discussion about a Tyreek Hill trade today. Could that change? Sure, absolutely. When teams lose, that changes the conversation and things are always fluid. But Tyreek Hill today, nothing.
Here's why that is a tough option to happen, even if he was available or even if the calls were made. Because Rashee Rice is going to come back.
Yes.
And Tyreek Hill, yes, he is extremely explosive. He can get down the field. You could throw it to him instantly and create touchdowns from 70 yards out. But when Rashee Rice comes back and Xavier Worthy is healthy, it right-sizes their receiving options. Right now, it is as bad as it's been in 3 years.
Those guys not
and it has
being there.
been very bad.
Sure.
But Rashee Rice does see the defense the way that Patrick Mahomes does. Like Travis Kelce, it allows Xavier Worthy to fit back into his pocket, which is, hey, you're speeding down the field. Now we have that option settled. And also Hollywood Brown could be gadgets. He could be third down. He can take off some of the load that they're trying to put on them now that they're not quite mature enough to handle.
Listen,
yet.
if there's
That's
a coach, if there's a coaching staff that can figure it out, the Chiefs have it. Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, two really smart guys. But it's not just week one. This goes back to last year. This goes back to being in a conversation with your ability to throw the ball downfield right now is in conversations with the Giants and the Browns. That's what their reality is right now.
And that's a bad thing.
I think we're so focused on the explosive plays, but one thing you mentioned in that is when they do the play action fakes, there's no linebackers
There's no
coming
pull.
out. There's no one being like, oh no, the run's gonna happen. How about establishing a run game a little bit and make yourself multi-dimensional? Because if you're just a one-dimensional thing, we're like, hey, we have to worry about Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the weapons to kind of handle everything on the perimeter, then it's like, okay, let's get to the ground game, let's get gritty, and let's extend 10, 13 play drives.
And make the defense feel like they can and will run the ball.
Take a
and
piece
then
from
the
the
chunks
defense.
come.
Take a piece from your defense, get gritty, get nasty, and let's show a different side of this Chiefs offense.
And they need to get the run game going. But again, when we talk about the wide receivers, Rashee Rice will be back in week 7. They'll get back Xavier Worthy. Hollywood Brown they have. They have a rookie wide receiver, Jalen Rowe. They have the manpower there. They just have to survive until they can get back Rashee Rice, who's a top receiver.
We'll see. I mean, the conference is catching up to them. We'll see if they can keep out running it. Meanwhile, speaking of running fast, Deion Sanders used to do that. Now he's coaching Colorado. What a ridiculous segue that was. College football, all right. 7:30.